What happens when you look forward to something and the reality just lets you down? Dear fellow citizens of the world, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Nick. I'm a career and performance coach. And on this channel, we talk about career, mindset, and personal growth. Today, we are trying to understand why expectations almost never match reality and what can we do about it. All of us have dreams, aspirations, and hopes that we want to see come true. We visualize what we want to get in our mind, but most of the time, our expectations don't match the reality of what we get. And there's a few reasons for that. First, we are not really good at assessing our abilities and probabilities of events to happen. I don't know if you've heard this sentence before, but we usually overestimate what we can do in the short run and underestimate what we can do in the long run. The second thing that can be a problem is we usually base our expectations on other things and other people. Think about a trip that you took in your life when you were so excited before the trip happened. And you could imagine how it would go, everything would be wonderful. And when you finally took off and went on the trip, everything went wrong. And at that point, you wonder why I was so excited about it and nothing worked the way I wanted to work. We can also be disappointed with people because now we put our expectations into other people's hands. And when people don't match our expectations, we feel that they let us down and we feel disappointed. So we base our expectations on other things, other people, yet at the same time, we believe we can control all the outcomes of whatever happens in our life, which is very contradictory, but it makes sense because we are in the driver's seat of our life and we believe we can make all the decisions. And at the end of the day, if you're responsible for your actions and results, as we mentioned in the previous video, you believe you control everything that's going to happen to you. Therefore, your expectations should technically match your reality perfectly, but it's not the case. So what happens when we cannot match the reality with our expectations? We start doubting our abilities. We start doubting ourselves. What is it that I can do better? And what is it that I could have learned or done differently in the past? Now, we also start wondering if luck has anything to do with it. And again, in the previous video, we talk about luck. Is luck really a factor in the way I can manage and lead my life? And finally, we feel disappointed. We feel we cannot trust the outcomes. So we end up not planning anything anymore. And we talk about goal setting. You know that if you don't plan anything for your life, obviously, you're just going to end up wandering around aimlessly. So now here's 3 things that you can do to make sure that your expectations don't fall too far away from your reality. Number 1, probably something that you've heard before, but hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So are we talking about having a backup plan here? Are we talking about being more open to failures or unpredictable situations that could arise in the process? Are we talking about being more optimistic or pessimistic or being more realistic? Whatever you want to look at it from, you have to find a way to see the whole picture. It's good to be focused on your goal, on what you're trying to do, but you need to understand also the environment is going to have an impact on what you're trying to do. So you need to be prepared about the fact that nothing might go the way you had anticipated. And this is when we use a soft skill. And the soft skill is adaptability. And 2020 showed us that we really need to be flexible and adaptable if we want to continue moving forward. So the key is try your best, try as much as you can, but always be prepared for things to go a bit differently from the original plan. Now, number 2, something that I keep stressing is focus on the process itself, not on the outcome. When you focus on the process, you are very present in what you're trying to do. And when you are present on what you're trying to do, you are much more dedicated, you are much more focused and in control of what you do because you're focusing on trying to make it as good as you can. And again, luck, if it exists, doesn't come from a specific event. It comes from a whole process. So when you master the process, you master each step that you take, you feel the journey is much more rewarding because you improve as you go. And number 3, something from me that I've learned along the way, and that's very important, yet we tend to forget to do it. Each day should be approached neutrally. And what do I mean by neutrally? Imagine that yesterday you had a very, very successful day. Everything went the way you wanted. You felt very fulfilled, very happy, very proud of what you did. What's going to happen today, logically, is that you are basing this whole day on what happened yesterday. So obviously you are very happy, very excited, looking forward to do things and expecting everything again to go the way it went yesterday. But that's a big mistake because today is different from yesterday. It's like when you play heads or tails, you have a 50% chance to get heads or tails. And the fact that you might have 3 tails in a row by throwing the coin doesn't mean that now you're more likely to get tails. You still have a 50-50 of getting tails or heads. Your expectations from yesterday until today should be reset. You should approach today as if nothing happened yesterday. And obviously it goes also if yesterday was a bad day. If everything was bad yesterday, you could not get what you wanted, you were struggling to solve a problem, you were very upset, very impatient, very frustrated, don't bring this negativity to today because today again is different. It's based on nothing. So if you approach each day neutrally, you have no expectations at all. You believe that you're still trying to do as best as you can, take one step at a time, and therefore expectations completely disappear. So what are the 3 takeaways from today's video? Number 1, expectations almost never match your reality. And that's something you need to remember and consider every day that you wake up. Number 2, there's only so much you can do to influence what's going to happen in the future. At the end of the day, you try your best, you're committed to doing something, you're passionate about doing something, you want to reach the next step. But once you do all this, then there's nothing else you can do. Whatever you had in mind might come true or might not. And that's just the reality of things. And number 3, very important, adopt a neutral state of mind each day that you approach, because each new day that you are ready to take on does not depend on the day before. Every new day has a 50% chance to be good and 50% chance to be bad. So when was the last time you imagined an outcome that did not materialize? How pissed were you that it did not happen the way you wanted? And how did you move on from there? Think about it next time you approach a new challenge, a new situation, and remember what we talked about today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you don't want to miss 2 new videos each week about career mindset and personal growth, please subscribe to the channel right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in our next video.